wider Indian football community. And we see this as a long-term project. Obviously, we're here today in Delhi, and we want to be able to have a national rollout throughout the years to really touch and make an accessible opportunity for players and coaches to engage. I think through the support of Complete Sports Solutions as well, we've helped facilitate some of this partnership and further opportunities further down the line. We want to be able to provide those insights and players and opportunities. Through that, one of the notable things is, Kishore touched upon it earlier as well, is providing opportunities for players of BBFS and the wider Indian community to come over to Southampton and experience the Southampton way, experience the authentic academy experience from some of the best coaches around. Sat to the left of me, Andy's worked in the academy for over 20 years, working with some of the best players that have come through the academy and that we've seen on some of those some clips. We want to be able to provide that opportunity for much more players and make a real big impact on Indian football. So I think that's our intentions of this partnership, and we're really looking forward to the months and the years ahead to have an impact.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. It's really interesting to hear your plans, because I know talk and planning at various stages, but the magic happens on the ground, right? What's it like at Southampton, and what is it that you're trying to bring here to the ground, right? Because ultimately we can plan a lot of things. If it doesn't happen on the ground, there's never the magic on the pitch later on. How do we produce players? Because it's really tough. 1 out of 1 million player actually wears the jersey of the professional club. And what is it that Southampton does so differently?
You also said about what's important. Well, if I'm being honest myself and Matt were talking this morning, the reason we're involved in the game is because we love the game, and we need to remember that. The reason we played as kids was because we love football. And we've got to make sure our players still engage with us and still enjoy playing and wanted to develop and reach their potential. So with the partnership, we're going to be sharing everything we do at Southampton, our day-to-day job, which is around the academy performance plan. And BBFS will get full access to our coaching styles, our philosophies, our formations down to set plays, and also an insight into our curriculum that we use daily with all our players. We're going to do this through a blended learning approach through the coach education program. So that will be online webinars. While you guys are in India, we're in Southampton. Also will be myself and other staff coming here to India, which is where we want to work with you guys, and also opportunities for coaches and staff to come to Southampton. From the players' side, who are important, we always talk about them as people first. Yes, they want to aspire to be footballers and professionals, but what is more important to us is the person inside. So to make sure we help them and support them through that journey, and for those players to reach their potential, we need to check and challenge with them through that journey and that course. We will do this, like I said, through our own curriculum and our own styles and terminology that we use, and also when we're here with the intensity that we're showing with the players as well. We will also benchmark the players, so as Tom touched on, when they come to Southampton, they will have an opportunity to go through the same testing, physical and technical testing, that we do with our academy players, and benchmark them at their correct age groups. They will also have the opportunity to play against our own academy players and see where they fit within their own journey, which is really, really important. And then during that week's training as well, we will give them their own individual development plan, so when they come back to India, they continue that journey and continue developing and improving as players. The last thing as well, what we're also going to support BBFS is with parent education, because yes, the children are close to us, and as a parent, my son and daughter are the most two important people in my life, and I want to support them and help them in their journey to be the best person, and then wherever they want to go in life. So we're going to do education for parents as well, so that could be through nutrition, that could be through the importance of sleep, it could be how we help and support that player through obviously the technical side, but the psychological side, the social side and the physical side. So we're there to support the players, the parents and the coaches. And to be honest, I'm quite excited about this journey we're now beginning with BBFS.
Well, that's wonderful. Before I go on to Matt, Kishore, I have a question. There's something very interesting that Andy said. I hope it's the right question to ask. He says that once the kids come back to India, they'll be very entrenched in the Southampton way, right? What I'd like to check from either one of you is that the plan for BBFS as well? That there'll be a lot of entrenchment from this partnership into the club itself. That's the vision that we have for the players that are playing for the Baichung Bhutia football schools and the clubs, and all the various academies that you have now.
Yes, absolutely. And the purpose of everything that we do is consistency and continuity. We only whatever is the most continuous is the most valuable, right? So we would like to, of course, build a continuous program without any breaks. Not just the pathway that we have here, but also the pathway from here, like I said earlier, to the world. And I think this whole partnership and bridge with Southampton FC is going to go a long way in ensuring that. So players, for the development, that continuity is so important. It is, again, continuity not just for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, but continuity maybe for 15, 20 years. That's when we will start seeing things, and players developing in a very exponential way, which is very difficult to visualize today.
Yep.
But with continuity over a period of 10, 15, 20 years, I have no doubt that we will be able to see world-class players coming out from India as well.
Thank you. Matt, I had a lot, as I told you, I had a lot of things to say, but most of them were used up by Kishore. But interestingly, you came from a small little town called Gurney. Am I pronouncing it right?
Guernsey.
Guernsey, yes.
An island.
I was happy that,
not just the pathway that we have here, but also the pathway from here, like I said earlier, to the world. And I think this whole partnership and bridge with Southampton FC is going to go a long way in ensuring that. So players, for the development, that continuity is so important. It is, again, continuity not just for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, but continuity maybe for 15, 20 years. That's when we will start seeing things, and players developing in a very exponential way, which is very difficult to visualize today.
Yep.
But with continuity over a period of 10, 15, 20 years, I have no doubt that we will be able to see world-class players coming out from India as well.
Thank you. Matt, I had a lot, as I told you, I had a lot of things to say, but most of them were used up by Kishore. But interestingly, you came from a small little town called Gurney. Am I pronouncing it right?
Guernsey.
Guernsey, yes.
An island.
I was happy that we're talking to people from the south of England, because the north I cannot understand them. But again, French is tough too. As a young lad who came to Southampton, you were, I think, at the academy, and then you were the youth player of the year as well in 99, 2000, if I'm not wrong.
No, way before that.
Yeah, okay.
1985.
The PFA, okay, alright, yeah. I've got my dates wrong there then.
Young player of the year was 1990.
Yeah, but you were the young player of the year at one point in time, in 1991 maybe.
Yes.
And from there on, I think 93, 94, 95 were, if I may say so, your peak years. You had maybe 50 odd goals and the highest assists in the Premier League. That's the top league in the world, and you're performing with what is considered a club that basically plays players from that came through the youth system. That's very different from all the big clubs at that point in time that were buying players from all over. How's that experience? How's Southampton different from the run-of-the-mill let's buy players club? And what was your experience like? And also, you were one of the few players who represented England coming from. Now naturalization is of course big, but not at that point in time. How was your experience going forward?
My experience at Southampton was pretty amazing, if I'm honest. I had 16 of the happiest years of my life there. And most of that was down to playing in a team that had an amazing team spirit. And one of the reasons we had an amazing team spirit was because of the reason that you just mentioned there. We had quite a few players who had come through the youth academy, right from a lot of the players were training with the football club at the age of 11 or 12 years of age, and they would come right the way through and they would end up in the first team. And we had a core in our team of local players who had come through that system and who really cared for the football club. So we didn't have a big budget at Southampton Football Club, so we had to try and do things a little bit differently. And that's what we did, and we promoted the players, the young players that came through the academy system, were promoted into the first team, as soon as they were ready. there wasn't a pathway that was blocked by lots of foreign players that we spent lots of money on because we couldn't afford to do that. And that's how the club survived all through the 80s and 90s in my tenure at the football club. And that journey all started for me at 15 years of age when I was actually, and this is a good lesson for any young kid. I grew up playing in Guernsey, as you said, for a grassroots football team called Balreg, and that enabled me to then play to represent my island. And I was playing for my island team, and we had a friendly match in Southampton. And that particular game, I was asked to play out of position by my manager. I was asked, because I was a centre midfielder originally, and I was asked to play in this game on the right wing. And I'd never played right wing before, and I just, I went out and I did the best I could. And what I didn't know is that game was a Southampton scout. And they saw me play. They had no idea that this wasn't my position. So I was playing out of position on the right wing. I had a good game. I was invited for a trial on the back of that game. I turned up a few weeks later at Southampton for a trial for 1 week, and they played me as a right winger. I didn't want to say for them, that's not my position, because I just wanted to be a footballer. I would play in any position. So I played as a right winger. After that week, I was signed as a schoolboy after just 1 week, and then for the next year, I would come across to Southampton in the holidays and train with the squad. And the one thing I noticed about the training, obviously I've been only in amateur football. And all of a sudden I was exposed to professional coaching, coaching sessions that had plans to them, where you could see what the coaches were trying to implement. And what else struck me about it was not just the professionalism, but the enthusiasm of the coaches, the passion that they had to try to make the players better. And that was a big thing for me at 15 years of age. And I was lucky when the decision had to come around a year later. At that time, I started my journey in the Southampton youth team. We were very fortunate as young footballers to have an incredible youth team coach, a man called Dave Merrington, who, whenever anybody ever asked me today who was the biggest influence on my career, that my youth team coach would be the first name that springs into